Hello everybody, what's up? Welcome back to another Power Rankings video, maybe the second to last one of the season, which saddens me. The regular season is over, playoffs start Saturday night. I am so excited. But for a lot of teams, their season is now over. Head coaches are getting fired left and right. Any other coaches are getting fired left and right. There is a lot going on in the NFL world that we can use to look forward to the draft and to next season, which I'm super excited for. So stay tuned on this channel for all of that good stuff. But as we wrap the first season of the Pro Nerd Sports Podcast, live Thursday. So a lot of teams have just ended their season and they are done. There's no more information that I can gather from these teams. So you're probably wondering, Ian, where do you rank these teams? Where do these teams stand in the NFL? Maybe not. Maybe you probably have your own opinion and you're coming here to judge mine, which I welcome because I make some pretty bad rankings. So bear with me here. Anyways, I know I make bad rankings, but starting off with number one, you can't, or not number one, 32nd. That's the worst team in the NFL, easily the Carolina Panthers. They had 2 wins on the season. I made the bold prediction that they were going to get 3 right at the tail end against the Buccaneers. That didn't happen. Carolina Panthers are terrible. And once again, after restarting pretty much last season, they are once again restarting this rebuilding process again. So sorry, Bryce Young, you're in for the long haul, buddy. You're in for the long haul. All right, moving on. 31st, mind you. 31st, the New England Patriots. Is Bill Belichick going to be on this team next season? Who knows? Who knows where Bill Belichick is going to be next season? But I will tell you this: his last, or if this is his last season, Bill Belichick's last game was a loss at home to the New York Jets, which is not good. That's pretty embarrassing considering how good the Jets are. So not a good way to go out if that's the case. But so far, not a lot of buzz yet from New England, but we'll see what happens in the coming days. Moving on, 30th, Washington Commanders. Now, you're probably wondering, Ian, why the Commanders are worse than the Patriots. The Patriots beat the Broncos. They beat the Steelers. And I'm like, yeah, but the Commanders beat the Patriots, okay? So that makes sense for me. Sorry. 29th, the New York Jets. New York Jets just beat, the couple teams below them. Very disappointing season from the New York Jets, obviously, because Aaron Rodgers was not on the field, and we saw Zach Wilson again, and got another 7-10 season for the New York Jets. I don't think Robert Saleh is a bad head coach. I hope they don't get rid of him. Defense was good. Offense was just very, very bad. One of the least efficient offenses. 28th, Los Angeles Chargers. Another terrible season, or not another one. The roster is good. Coaching was horrible, so good job for the Chargers front office for firing Brandon Staley. Good job, guys. Shout outs to you. 27th, the spoilers. The Tennessee Titans, who just beat the Jacksonville Jaguars to knock them out of the playoffs. It's a little crazy. It's a little crazy to me. Out of all the scenarios that I thought would happen, if you watched the stream from last week, you would have known that a lot of my predictions were kind of crazy. That was not one of them. I had the Jaguars winning that game. It was clear Trevor Lawrence was not 100% himself towards the end of the season, and at that point, just write it out with CJ Beathard. I mean, man, beat the Carolina Panthers 29-0. It's good for something, okay? All right, anyways, moving on. 26th, the New York Giants. Another team that had a very, like I said, these rankings are going to be so hard because, especially towards the tail end of the season, we had a lot of 4-win teams really come out of their shells and perform better than what their record shows. The New York Giants is one of them. It's just so hard to rank them, though, because I can't confidently say that they're better than the teams above them. But the New York Giants, great end to the season. A lot of hope. All right, now Wink Martindale, the defensive coordinator. That was the only shining hope on the New York Giants, though. I'm a little worried for them again next season. But we'll see what happens, Mom. We'll see what happens, Jack. Moving on. 25th, another team that was picking it up just the last few weeks of the season. The Arizona Cardinals getting wins against the Philadelphia Eagles on the road, the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road, and they kept it close against the Seattle Seahawks. So kudos to the Arizona Cardinals for being able to win football games. Now, this team is going to have a high draft position. Who knows what they do in the draft, but good way to end the season for the Cardinals. Moving on, 24th, the Indianapolis Colts. I've said it once, I'll say it again. One of the most overrated teams in the NFL from this season. They beat the Ravens in week 3. It was week 3, guys. Like, slip-ups happen. They happen all the time early in the season. Bad teams are going to beat good teams. The Cardinals beat the Cowboys, okay? Like, the Colts, other than that Ravens win, a lot of those wins aren't very impressive. Barely beat the Titans twice. Lost to the Jaguars twice. They did beat the Texans early in the season. That was week 2, I believe. But they obviously fumbled the bag week 18. That was such a great game. And Colts fans, that was the most Detroit Lions ending to a game. Like, perfect play drawn up on 4th down. Bad execution by both Gardner Minshew and I don't even know who the receiver was, but not a fun way to end your season. But nonetheless, good job on winning 9 games. It's impressive nonetheless. But I still think you're not a top 20 team in the NFL. Believe it or not. The 9-win Indianapolis Colts are not a top 20 team. 23rd, the Atlanta Falcons. Arthur Smith is gone. Atlanta Falcons fans, you are free. Now, just don't make a stupid head coaching hire again. This team's a good quarterback and a good coach away from being dangerous. And especially in the NFC South with a division full of terrible coaches, 2 teams with 0 coaches, and not a lot of quarterbacks that are great. Maybe Baker Mayfield's kind of good. But again, the NFC South's wide open, so maybe potentially a good future for the NFC or for the Falcons in the NFC South to come. 22nd, Denver Broncos. Now, I was really high on the Broncos headed into the season. They started off terribly. They got really good in like that middle section. They were really good. Then they lost, of course, to the Detroit Lions. And since then, Russell Wilson is benched because of contractual agreements. He's probably not going to be on the team next season. Moving on to 21st, I have the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't know how to feel about this team. I think Antonio Pierce is doing a fantastic job. They should keep him as the head coach. The way he motivates this team is different than some head coaches do, and it's very beneficial, I think, for the Las Vegas Raiders organization. Defense will have their moments. They had their moments against the Chiefs on Christmas. Offense will have their moments too, I guess, but not as often. So there are some things to figure out. There are some things the Raiders need to figure out in the offseason. But definition of a below average team, I would say. They're close to average, though, given the benefit of the doubt. That's why they're 21st. All right, moving on to 20th. Top 20 teams in the NFL, starting off with number 20, the Cincinnati Bengals. Did not have a very good end. Well, Week 18, they blew out the Browns with 0 starters, and so that means something maybe. But this is another one of those teams. Backup quarterback Jake Browning played amazing, but there were some ups and downs, and they ended up last in their division with 9 wins, though. So still very impressive for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think once Joe Burrow is back and fully healthy, that's the key. He needs to be fully healthy. This team will be good again. But as of now, season's over. 20th is where I'm going to keep the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, a lot of people are going to hate on this. I think the Vikings, Kevin O'Connell is a very good head coach, all right? And I'm a Lions fan, and maybe it's just because the Lions defense is really bad, but Kevin O'Connell knows what he's doing, I think, at the quarterback position, because it seems like any backup that they put into the system, besides Darren Hall, but he was a rookie, so it doesn't really matter too much, would succeed for a good bit. Obviously, Nick Mullins has an interception problem. Josh Dobbs just fell off the planet Earth. Obviously, they lost Kirk Cousins, but still have Justin Jefferson. This team is still better than a lot of people are giving them credit for. They ended the season 7-10, I believe, which isn't the greatest record worse than many of the teams below them. But they still have some good wins under their belt. I think this Minnesota Vikings team, I think 19 is a good spot. People will disagree with me. Defense is amazing. Brian Flores is amazing. Very underrated team. Moving on to 18th, another underrated team. This team had a phenomenal end to the season. The defense started playing well. I think it was once they traded for Montez Sweat, because I remember when they traded for Montez Sweat, I was kind of like, why are they trying to be good? But I don't know. Good ending to the season. Week 18 was a little rough against the Green Bay Packers, but that's besides the point. 17th, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the biggest playoff choke job in history. They were 8-3. I guess the Tennessee Titans did something similar last season in the same division, which is funny, the AFC South. But I thought they were a lock for the AFC South. There's people predicting the Jaguars to get the number 1 seed in the AFC last season, and they didn't even make the playoffs. They lost to the Tennessee Titans. Just shows that we were all kind of overrating the Jaguars. And there's some serious questions that need to be asked. Trevor Lawrence is not great, and now he was hurt. He was definitely hurt towards the end of the season. Calvin Ridley was very disappointing. There's some things that this team needs to figure out because nobody expected them to go, 9-8? Come on, guys. Come on. Moving on, 16th, Seattle Seahawks. Definition of mid. They've had great games against some good teams, some terrible games against some bad teams. Seattle Seahawks, I would consider them a very middle-of-the-pack team, losing to the Steelers, losing to the Rams, but they beat the Detroit Lions. They came close against the Dallas Cowboys, lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think I already said that. Maybe I did. I don't know. Seattle Seahawks, mid. All right, moving on. The New Orleans Saints, now I'll admit I was probably a little bit high on the New Orleans Saints last week. I had them at 14th. They did, though, go out in style against the Atlanta Falcons. In the second half, I don't know what switch was flipped, but this team all of a sudden became juggernauts. Another very mid team. I think they're pretty underrated. Not enough people give them credit. I think the defense is good. The offense has its moments especially when it's fully healthy. But again, it's like they're the Saints. They're not going to do anything crazy, all right? So it's fine. Another mid team. 14th. Now we get into our playoff teams, and now coincidentally, the top 14 teams are playoff teams. Didn't do that on purpose. I will let you know I did not do that on purpose. It just so happens that the top 14 teams were all playoff teams. So 14th, Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't care that you beat the Rams. I don't care that you beat the Ravens twice. I don't care that you beat the Packers. You barely beat all of those teams. I know that's still impressive nonetheless, but you beat a Rams team that's completely different now. Now they're averaging over 400 yards of offense a game with all Kyron Williams, Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua all going at the same time. That team is unstoppable. You got lucky first game against the Ravens, and then the second game, they didn't play any of their starters. You also got lucky against the Green Bay Packers. Not sorry, Pittsburgh Steelers. 14th, though, is a very fair spot for y'all. 13th, the Green Bay Packers. This team confuses me. I feel like every week, the Packers, like every couple of weeks, the Packers will be, they're really good. And then all of a sudden, they, almost lose to the Carolina Panthers. And then they blow out the Minnesota Vikings. So who knows how good this team really is. 13th, they're a playoff team. Jordan Love is a great quarterback, so 13th, I think, is very fair for the Green Bay Packers. Going forward, 12th, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, team that beat the Green Bay Packers. Probably the only reason why they're at 12th, because they just dropped a game against the New Orleans Saints. Not good. Baker Mayfield got shaken up, and the team did not look the same against the Panthers. I thought my prediction was going to come in clutch, and the Panthers were going to beat the Buccaneers, but Buccaneers won by 9 points. It's not an impressive win against the worst team in the league. I'm scared for them in the playoffs, but luckily for the Buccaneers, they get to play the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs. What the hell happened? What happened? Like I think Kevin Byard, the Eagles traded for. They're trying to fix their problems. Is it just Jalen Hurts isn't that good, or what's happening? But this team all of a sudden is losing games, and to be on that, they lost like 5 of their last 6. Going into the playoffs, that's not where you want to be at all. Maybe if you start off 5-6 and then win all your games, good for you. But not a good look headed into the playoffs. Again, they're playing the Buccaneers. It's going to be actually pretty close game, pretty entertaining. I believe that's Monday night, so we'll see what happens there. But I still keep the Eagles above the Buccaneers for now, but don't be shocked if the Buccaneers take that win against them in the playoffs. Moving on to my top 10. Starting off, we have the Houston Texans. From one of the, if not the worst teams in the NFL from last season, they are now AFC South champions. Gotta love this team. Gotta love CJ Stroud when he's on the field. The team is electric. I think they're gonna have, I believe, who they play. They play Buffalo. No, they don't. They play because they won the division. That's right. Who do they play? They play Cleveland. That's a tough game. That is a really tough game for the Houston Texans. One that's winnable for them, though, so we'll see how that goes, but definitely exciting playoff team the Houston Texans are. Moving on to 9th, Miami Dolphins. Another fumbled division. This team was one of those teams that was in the running for the 1 seed. Now they are the 6th seed. If they didn't lose to the Tennessee Titans by 1 that game, they would have won, which is kind of crazy how one game can impact an entire season. It feels wrong that the when you think of like this season, the Dolphins have been better for longer, but the Bills are the ones that figured it out late in the season. They beat the Dolphins on the road, swept them for the season, so the Bills obviously deserve to win that division. But 9th is a good spot for the Miami Dolphins. Still think this is a very good team. Moving on to 8th, the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe a little high. They really still have not proved themselves at all. They are the 3 seed in the AFC. Offense not clicking on all cylinders. Defense is pretty good, though. So we'll see what happens in the playoffs. They host the Miami Dolphins in the playoffs, so that should be a very entertaining game. Tyreek Hill's revenge game. They cooked with the script making, guys. They cooked. It makes me think that they did all of this on purpose, which they might have very well have done so. So I don't really know. Anyways, 7th, the Los Angeles Rams. I am confident that this team is going to beat the Detroit Lions. Although if you watch any of my videos, you know the bias works in reverse for me. So maybe the Lions are a better team. The Rams are a better team. I don't know. But this team is clicking on all cylinders. Like they almost lost to the Giants last week. So like I can't trust them that much. They rested their starters week 18. 7th is where they are going to stay for now. Very good team. 6th, the Dallas Cowboys. I know, again, another really good team. Haven't beaten anybody really that good. They beat the Lions on some asterisks. They came close to beating the Dolphins, but still lost to the Dolphins. Blown out by the 49ers. I guess their best win after that would be the Philadelphia Eagles. They beat the Rams earlier in the season, but that was a different Rams team than what we saw. Still, Cowboys, very good team. Got to make a run in the playoffs. They might win a divisional round game, dare I say it, as long as they don't blow it to the Packers, which they love to do. Anyways, 5th, can't believe I'd say the Lions are top 5 headed into the regular season, or ending the regular season. Just let me have this, okay? Let me have it. I might be biased, but they're just going to lose in the first round of the playoffs, and then I'll knock them down a few notches, but still super proud of this team for what they have accomplished this season. Couldn't be more happy as a fan. 5th, I think they've earned the 5th spot. Maybe other people disagree with me, but I think they've earned the 5th spot. Moving on to 4th, the Cleveland Browns. Now, I had them 3 before. I had Buffalo. Buffalo jumped the Cleveland Browns. Buffalo, AFC North champions on the road in Miami. I think that's super impressive. Browns did drop a couple games on the road earlier in the season, but they are the only team that have really been competitive against the Baltimore Ravens. And I think if Joe Flacco faces off his old team in the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised if they get that win. It'll be eye candy. I'm gonna love to see that. Anyways, Buffalo. I didn't talk about the Bills. 49ers are second. Bills really came around at the end of the season. This team is dangerous headed into the playoffs. I wouldn't be shocked to see this team win the Super Bowl. San Francisco 49ers, as long as they're healthy, this team's going to be really good. Again, we saw them beat the Commanders, but after that, they rested all of their starters, so we really don't know. But I do think that Trent Williams will be healthy, and pretty much their whole team will be healthy headed into the playoffs because they get that extra bye week. And, of course, number one is the Baltimore Ravens. It is not even close. The Ravens are by far the best team in the NFL. Easy enough. They end this regular season as the number one team in the league. Take a picture. These are my post-Week 18 NFL power rankings. If you like them, make sure you like the video, subscribe, check out tomorrow's stream. If not, let me know down in the comments, what would you change? I would like to hear. I like talking about football. I like debating this stuff, so have at it. You can tell me I'm a dumb fucking idiot. If you really wanted to, go for it. But with that, I'm going to end this video. Thank you so much for watching this. If you did, I love you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.